Morning. This is Andy Henderson going live from LinkedIn with the first in our episodes of People Do Work. Today's theme is all about how radical transparency creates radical accountability in your business. And I think you're going to have a good time. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn some stuff to implement in your business. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story. And at the end, we're going to give you a load of freebies and goodies so that you can take what you've learned today and start to think about implementing this stuff in your business. So what is this people do work thing all about, I hear you asking? Well, I don't even know what it is yet. Is it a brand? Is it a business? Is it an ethos? I think it's more of an ethos. And at Forward Thinking, our ethos is all about putting people first, not profits. We work with lots and lots of businesses, and we understand really well and clearly that if you put people first in business, it works. The journey to success is more enjoyable for everyone, from the board to the shop floor. And the feeling that you get when you're operating in a people first business can't be matched. It's people first, not profit. And if we think about our vision at Forward Thinking is simply to change the way the world does business by putting people first, not profits, as I've said. Because people first makes people, it motivates people. Profit first breaks people. And we see it all the time. And we want to, in order to change the way the world does business, we've got to do stuff like this. So people do work webinars, people do work podcasts, people do work events, and we've got events coming up soon. We've got our first People Do Work event in March in partnership with East Lancashire Chamber, which is great. We've got 2.5 hours on stage, action-based learning for you guys, and it's going to be awesome. Loads and loads of tools, like the webinar today, loads and loads of tools for you to take away and really grab hold of and implement and do some good, make a difference inside your business. So before we crack on, it's going to be about 30 minutes. So I want you to stay until the end. Like I said, there's going to be loads of stuff that you can grab hold of at the end to really help you start making that change inside your business. But before we do, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Andy Henderson. I'm the founder of Forward Thinking, the founder of YAB, our business owner, peer-to-peer problem-solving community. People Do Work, and also we're building a franchise community. Our dream is to take this message across the UK with 50 franchisees, 200 YAB groups, and 6,000 members. Once we've cracked that, we can start to, so that's changing the way the UK does business by putting people first. Then we can start to look at other English-speaking countries, maybe Australia, maybe the US, who knows. I've been a shareholder and owner of 2 previous businesses and exited those. This business, we've been in operation for 5+ years. We've worked with over 400. It's probably over 500 businesses now. I don't really keep tally, but the last time I checked, it was about 417. That was a year and a half ago. We've engaged and enabled engagement across thousands and thousands of people within organizations, and we've created better working environments, better structure, better strategies where people have come together and they all feel like part of something bigger than themselves. When we look across our businesses that we've worked with, our customers, there's millions and millions of pounds of increased revenue, profits, new customer wins. We are, as a business, we're impact focused. It's all about the impact, all about the people, because our ethos says that if we put people first, the revenue increase, the profit increase comes by default. But like I said earlier, the journey towards it is more enjoyable. So that's a bit about me. That's all I'm going to say about me, because this is about you. It's about delivering content that helps you implement the people first approach inside of your business. So what about you? This is going to be really applicable for you and really valuable for you. If you are a senior leader, a founder in business, if you have a responsibility for people, if you're responsible for delivering outcomes, whether that's revenue increase, employee engagement increase, profitability increase, sales increase, more leads from a marketing perspective. If you're quite a large business, £1 million plus revenues, if you've got 10+ people, if you're ambitious, if you want to become people first, if there's something missing in your leadership style, if you feel like there's something missing, there's untapped potential in your business, 99% of the time, That untapped potential is all about people. It's harnessing the power of a connected workforce and becoming purpose-led and stuff. That is very often the problem, the untapped potential. If you're into self-development, or at least you want to be, if you're in business to make a difference, if you thrive off change and challenge, and if you really buzz off creating value in your organization, if that's you, if that sums up you, then this is absolutely where we want you to be. So back to today's theme. It's all about how being a radically transparent leader, open. The door is open. Anything you want to know, come and ask me, and I'm going to proactively tell you stuff as well as a leader, and how that creates radical accountability. Why does that matter? Well, accountability is massive in organization. Lack of accountability is a huge thing. We see it consistently in every business that we work with for the first time. And part of creating that radical accountability, we've seen it play out. It's all about being radically transparent as a leader, being open, being honest, being authentic, being real, not hiding information, not using information as a source of power, not being Napoleon, where your primary goal is to divide and conquer. That's not the way to do it. But listen, we're going to dig into that in a little while. Whilst we're getting into this, I am going to change the way the screen share works in a second, because there's some details that we're going to go through, and I want you to be able to see some of those details as well as see me in a smaller window. Anyway, so our promise to you today is you're going to learn things. Number one, you're going to learn some stuff, okay? So write some notes down, write stuff down. If anything really appeals to you, write some notes down and take that into your business, do something with it. You're going to understand how to implement some of those things that you learn. If you implement some of those things, I guarantee you, I promise you, you're going to make a difference in your organization. And at the end, you're going to receive a link to download all of the assets that you see today, the video, the illustrations, because we've got some amazing illustrations by our partner, Emma Weston. She's a very talented illustrator. She's really helped us bring this to life today. You're going to get that. You're going to get a blog, and you're going to get the slide deck as well. So stay around to the end, and you'll get everything that you need to take this forwards. Okay, one thing, bit of housekeeping. Try and limit distractions. Turn the music off, turn your phone on mute or on focus mode, and just really zone in, because I'm going to give you everything that I possibly can today to help you become a more transparent leader and help you sort of start to create the foundations of accountability. So it's going to start with a bit of a story. This is me a long time ago. So I mentioned about me being an owner, a shareholder of previous businesses. This is me when I first started my career, 17 years old. And please bear with me. It's not a long story, but it's going to set the scene to me sharing the problems I had as a sort of non-transparent leader. I'm going to share with you what we tried to do to fix that didn't work. I'm going to share with you what we actually did eventually to make it work, to become more transparent, to build that accountability, to grow our business in a people first way. And then I'm going to help you understand some of the outcomes we experienced as a result of that. So the story, so started at 17, left college after 6 weeks, straight into a job. I just wanted to get my hands dirty and get stuck in. And I grew through the ranks. I'm not sure if I was a natural born leader, but I grew through the ranks. I ended up leading people. The business grew from 1 million to 2 to 4 to 8. And it was an IT business, so we were delivering IT solutions to large businesses across the UK, infrastructure projects like servers and storage and networking and software and all sorts of things like that. And through my growth in that organization to director and shareholder, I followed the leadership style of the CEO, which is one style, but it wasn't my style. So you could say if I was following someone else's style, I was not an authentic leader. I was not a transparent leader. I was not a servant leader, because the previous leader, he was very much autocratic, very much, I'm going to tell everyone what to do and I've got to have all the answers and we're going to make this work. And it kind of did work, but it didn't create a cohesive team. It didn't create accountability. You see, when you're a leader and you have to tell everyone what to do all the time, there's no accountability, because people are just sat there waiting for you to tell them what to do before they do anything, which is not the right place to be. The people don't want to experience a work environment like that. And as a leader, it's so tiring. At this point, we had 72 people, and managing and leading in that way was literally it just didn't work. So there was one day, as we were growing, there was one particular day we were growing, and then it started to go backwards. We got to 15 million, and it was brilliant. We transformed the business, and it was 50. It was really good. Then the recession hit, 2010. It really started to affect us, and we started to go backwards. And that was when I was appointed MD, and I still had that same leadership style. It wasn't my style, but it was the only style I knew. I thought as a leader, you had to tell everyone what to do. You had to withhold information. You had to shield people from the truth if it wasn't going so well, and almost weaponize that information. It was when I look back, it was like, oh, cracky, I can't believe that's how you operated. But you've got to operate in a certain way that gives you bad results to understand why and how and what good looks like. So went through that process. Anyway, the business was going backwards, and the owner basically, he threw the business at me. He said, you've got to do this, Andrew. You've got to help us. You've got to turn this round. So I did eventually, but I tried a lot of different things to make that work, and a lot of different things didn't work until I hit upon the theme of just being me, being transparent with everything, being authentic, sharing stuff, encouraging feedback, all this sort of stuff. We had so many problems. We had problems with sales. We had problems with tech. We had problems with the engagement across teams. We had silos. We had, all sorts of stuff. And it was affecting the morale. It was affecting engagement. It was affecting the bottom line performance, the feeling, the mood. Every single thing was being affected in the business. So I'm going to explain more deeply about what those sort of challenges, the pains were. So like I said earlier, Emma Weston, brilliant illustration. So this kind of sums up the problems that we had by not being transparent. We had 72 people in that business, and it was almost like everyone was in a separate boat, all rowing in different directions. They might have all been really competent rowers, but they just weren't all rowing together, which was a right pain. Performance was suffering, so top line numbers, bottom line numbers, departmental numbers. People didn't care and support each other. People, really sort of, they almost, it wasn't a case of they were getting to sort of fisticuffs and fighting, but there was no care and support. There was something that we termed bystander apathy, where someone's boat over here was on fire, but everyone else was just rowing thinking, well, my boat's okay. It's up to you. You sort your own boat out. And that's not the right way to lead. That's not the right things you want to see in business. You want to see people helping each other and supporting each other through any problems and pains, and also celebrating successes and recognizing good work and contribution. So, like, if we go into a bit more detail with the problems and pains, missed objectives and poor performance. You may suffer from this now. If you're suffering from this stuff now, just put a comment on LinkedIn. Just put a comment saying, problem. I've got the problem, Andy. I want some help. I want some guidance. It's no problem. We can help you. We can pick up the phone and have a conversation. But we saw very clearly missed objectives. The business wasn't performing. Sales, marketing, tech, it wasn't coming together. We missed deadlines with customers. We missed internal deadlines. We weren't meeting targets. And the quality of people's output wasn't quite there. We had a blame culture, and the team weren't cohesive. They weren't collaborating together. People made mistakes. It was like, who's made that? Let's vilify them. And this is me. And if you know me, you know that's not me. But it was back then, because I was copying an existing leadership paradigm, an existing leadership way. So, all that sort of lack of team, it erodes trust, and there's no collaboration there. The engagement levels across the team were very, very low. So much so that we had an engagement consultant come in to assess where our engagement levels were, and they were low. They weren't like excessively low, but they weren't in a good place. And people naturally want to feel part of something bigger. They want to feel part of a team, collective responsibility. But that wasn't there, and we had a large turnover of people, and it costs fortunes. If you're a leader suffering this now, it costs fortunes. There was no innovation. people were averse to risk. They didn't want to create new ideas because they were scared that they would be laughed at, or it just wouldn't be implemented, or it would be implemented but it wouldn't work, and then they get told off because we had a blame culture. So loads of problems were occurring due to how we were leading in a non-transparent way. Customers were complaining. We had loads of customer complaints, whether that was the customer service end or the technical end of the business. I literally sat there as MD and I had people problems on my desk piling up, and I had customer problems on my desk piling up. And I was like, Eddie, my hands thinking, what on earth are we doing here? It was tough, and I can feel it. I'm taking myself back to, I can feel it. And of course, the final one, people didn't trust me. Credibility was not there. When you're not authentic, people know that you're not being your true self. When you're withholding information, good or bad, they know that you're withholding information. You're not giving them the full story. And the foundational level of anything in business, it's relationships, it's trust. It's trust, and you need that as an absolute foundation, and we didn't have it. So much so that it was the 7th of January 2013, 7 minutes past 9 in the morning. This was on the back of a really bad year when I'd just become MD. And my HR director, she knocked on the door. She said, Andrew, have you got a minute? I said, yeah, is it good news or bad? Because I wasn't in a good place. I couldn't handle any more bad news. Anyway, she said, it's not good. So she took me down to the canteen. In the canteen, that's where we had the rec room and, bean bags, table football, darts, all the stuff that you get when you haven't got a good culture and you don't know how to create a good culture. Anyway, in the canteen, there were loads of PR resources all blown up, magazine articles about new partnerships, new customer wins, new this, new that, new the other. And she said, just, a couple of those pictures had my face on, had my picture on. She said, go and look at the ones with you on them, Andrew. This is no word of a lie. I went up to the ones with pictures of me on, and someone had literally scraped my face out with a compass head on the picture. And I knew then that something had to change. That was the lowest point. That was the lowest point when we had all these problems, and I knew something had to change, and it took me a while to figure it out. So these are some of the things we tried to do to try and stimulate better team cohesion, better results, better feeling in the business, but it was hard, and it didn't quite work. We tried telling everyone what to do and thinking I had all the answers. I tried to create new products and services and go after new markets because it was exciting, it was interesting, but I'd be running 500 miles an hour ahead, and the rest of the business would just sit there going, he can't do it on his own, he'll be back. And it was exhausting. We tried to protect people from the truth, i.e. when the numbers weren't back, we tried to gloss over it. They say you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. And I think we were doing a lot of glitter rolling, and people could see through that, And ultimately, I tried to do a lot of this stuff myself, and it just didn't work. I was tired, I was stressed, I was overwhelmed. It had no material impact on the business. It just didn't work. So if you are, if you are leading a business, you're trying stuff. These are some of the things you might have tried that we tried that don't really work. So we tried to get together as a board and decide things and push all those decisions into the business. And without team input, we just thought, we know best, we're the directors, we've got to get this right and push it. And we didn't get any buy-in. We started to install loads of KPIs, call recording, call monitoring, all the call stats and stuff. But people fought that, and it was almost like leading with a stick. And it didn't work. We thought we're leaders. It's like, that's going to work. It didn't work. It actually made things worse. We set hugely aspirational goals, but they were too big and there was no context, and we didn't give people the tools and resources to deliver against them. And I'm smirking now because I'm thinking, what I know now as a leader and what I was doing then, it's like, of course, this stuff is not going to work on its own in isolation. We didn't feed back, positive or negative, really. We still had that blame culture. We tried to open up communication, but if you're not being transparent with that communication, people see through the cracks. it leads to misunderstandings, misaligned stuff, and people ultimately not working together towards the same shared set of goals. We professed to be a great training business. We tried to do training stuff, but it was all generic and across all business. It wasn't specific and humanized and tailored to each person's individual sort of projection, a career projection within the business. That didn't work. And then, when, like I said earlier, it's the stick was out. If people didn't toe the line, we got the stick out, and it was. I don't really like sharing this, but it's true. I need to share this stuff that we did that didn't work, just in case you're doing it, hoping it's going to work. Because let me tell you, it's not. So these are some of the things we tried. And again, if you're trying this stuff and it's not working, put in the comments, I'm trying, Andrew, I'm trying. And we can follow this up afterwards and make sure, we can give you a little bit of information and we can nudge you in the right direction so that you can do some things that we know works. So, if we come on to the solution end of things, the solution that we implemented was, I've got to say, it wasn't by design. It was almost like we tried all this stuff. It didn't work. Let's just do the opposite and see if that works. And when we started to think about, well, what does it look like if we do the opposing thing? Instead of telling people what to do, let's ask them, where do we want to be? Where do you want to be? What's happening in this organization that's really frustrating you? What do we do really well? And what new ideas have you got? And let's listen to those ideas and let's embrace those ideas. So we became very people first, and I think what I know now is that we actually became like that. I think we adopted the servant leadership style, and what that means is instead of you believing as a leader that your people and your teams work for you, it's actually the opposite in a servant leadership style. We believe as leaders that we work for them. It's our job to inspire, to motivate, to guide, to inform, to communicate, to develop, to increase aspiration, increase ambition, and do all that stuff. So we started to really understand the people's perspective, really value their voice. And honestly, the immediate change in connection, collaboration, engagement was palpable. It took 6 months for this to really, really affect the bottom line. But during that 6 months, we felt it in the business. We could see it. People are enjoying their work a lot more. We created a plan for growth as a team. We created really a clear vision. We did it together. I, as a leader, even though we weren't doing that well from a performance perspective, revenues, profits, and stuff, we got together, and I was as MD, I was the guinea pig, or I was the front of house, shall we say. And we agreed that I would do a monthly company update to the whole business. And I agreed to do it, but I was scared to do it because we weren't in a good place. And I was scared because we were withholding information. We were polishing turds and rolling them in glitter and stuff. And I was scared to deliver not good news. I was fearful. It was based in fear. And we had to do these things once a month. And I'm not joking, for the first 2 or 3, I used to try and change the date and push it back. When I couldn't do that, I used to run off and hide. And I'm not kidding you. They used to have to come and find me to deliver the company update because I just didn't want to give people bad news because people were leaving and stuff. And I didn't want more people to leave. I really didn't believe. I didn't think that actually by being open and transparent that people would enjoy knowing, and when they understand what's going on and they understand the different parts of the business that are operating in a certain way that aren't helping us to improve performance, then people can start to do something about it. They can start to own stuff. They can start to contribute more. They can bring together ideas. They can fill some of the gaps. And I started being ultra transparent about me, the way I feel, what we were trying to do, where we were trying to go, and the results every month. So of course we shared everything: revenues, gross profit, net profit. We shared behaviors in the business that were helping to improve things. We shared behaviors in the business that weren't helping. We didn't call out names, but we made it clear that this behavior is helping and we want to see more. This behavior is not helping. We don't want to see any of that. And of course, when we shared over financials, it was like, what, you turn over 14 million? You make 14 million pounds profit? No, that's revenue. Then we had to educate. What does cost of goods sold look like? What does gross profit? What are the overheads? What is net profit? So we start to help people understand that we have to create all these millions of pounds worth of sales to produce this tiny little bit of net profit at the bottom. And that's the thing that we need to start moving forward. So we can invest in training, we can invest in new office environments, so we can do all this stuff. So we're being ultra transparent across the place, creating plans together, asking for their voice and their opinion. It was brilliant. So these are the things that I would recommend you do and implement. And you'll be scared. Some of this stuff is scary, but I'm telling you now, if you've got a workforce, a team, people that are not quite working together, these are the building blocks of things that I would recommend you do. So not just openly share vision and expectations, create the vision, create the plan together. Do it as a team. That's what we do at Forward Think. We do it every day of the week with different customers. We start in the boardroom to create the strategic stuff. Then we start to ask the wider team to input into some of this stuff, to poke it, to press it, to put in their sort of view of the future. And we bring it together. And when you do that, it becomes everyone's plan. Every single person has some input into that plan, that vision, that purpose, and the mission, how we're going to get there. Encourage open dialogue and feedback. Two-way. It's not just from you to them. It's encouraging feedback, taking that feedback, ensuring that people feel that their voice matters in the organization. And you're going to act on a problem or you're going to act on an idea. You're going to work that stuff up together. It's absolutely brilliant. That contribution, collective contribution, creates a sense of ownership and accountability, radical accountability. So when you start being radically transparent, you can start to see how this builds radical accountability, because when people see we're doing well, they want to own the stuff and they want to do better collectively. When people see we're not doing so good, they want to look for the gaps and look at the way they can contribute and fill those gaps and own things and drive them through so it works. It's really, it creates an amazing environment to work in. You need to be, as a leader, the model of accountability. Something's going right, own it. Something's going wrong, own it. Own the communication, own the culture, own the feedback, own the questions, own the engagement, own the fact that you say you value the employee voice, the people voice, the voice of the people and their perspective. Show them. Show them, don't tell them. Massive, 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 massive. Empower team decision making. So include them in we do a thing called you may have heard of YAB. We build external communities for small business owners to come together and problem solve. We actually take the YAB methodology inside businesses, reducing silos, creating cross-functional collaboration, creating innovation, solving problems. And it really opens people's eyes as to the different departments and different teams and different challenges and actually how they're all connected. So start doing these problem-solving think tanks, innovation think tanks, cross-functionally in particular, because having finance and marketing and sales and operations and people and culture and purchasing all in a room talking about a set of problems that are impacting the whole business and getting their understanding and feedback about and perspective about how to fix. It's so powerful. Creates massive ownership, massive accountability. People want to do the work. They want to own it. They want to drive it through because they want to feel valued, and they feel valued by doing good work that means something, that helps contribute to the wider purpose of the organization. It's magic. I'm not kidding you. It's magical. Regularly review performance and progress. Now, this isn't an annual one-to-one. This is regular. It's less formal. There is a structure there, but we want our finger on the pulse. We want to understand the vital signs of the people, individuals, the teams, individuals, the business as a unit. We need to be close. We need to review that, and we need to share the performance across the business so that everyone understands team performance, people performance, overall business performance, the whole shooting match, because only then can they do something about it. Only then, when you're open about communication, about everything, it builds that foundational level of trust. And when you've got trust, you start to develop ownership and accountability. Feedback and support. We mentioned this before. The feedback and support bit is great. Create an environment and a space and a format and a way of getting feedback for yourself, because feedback, after all, is a breakfast of champions, and sometimes it might be painful, and it was for me at the start. But actively pursuing that feedback and actively providing feedback to your people, to your customers, and getting that from them is again so important, because it keeps things in line. It keeps people feeling like they're part of it. It helps people understand that they are moving in the right direction and they're doing good, meaningful work, and it's contributing to the wider cause. You know, and when you start putting all this stuff in place, the magic happens. You know, I see all these organizations talk about one team, we're one team, but when you get under the hood of it, they're not. They're 500 people all doing different things, rowing in different boats, all in different directions. One team starts at the top. It starts with transparency. It starts with a shared vision that's built together, shared purpose, shared mission. It starts with a shared plan, a shared set of goals towards reaching that stuff. It starts with transparency, openness, communication. You know, everyone working together. This is what happens. Everyone working together. So instead of 100 boats, 100 people in 100 boats, you've got one boat with 100 people in it, all doing different things. Some rowing, coxswain, some with the sails, you know, with the direction, some with the compass, you know, whatever. They've all got different roles. They're all accountable for that because they all understand how their roles and responsibilities interconnect to create and move towards the bigger picture stuff. You know, when you do this right, it leads to good growth. Growth that's inspired by motivation, not growth that's achieved via fear. Good growth feels good, it looks good, and good growth is long-term. You know, bad growth is fear-based, it's short-termist, it's overly focused on numbers and KPIs and profitability. It's relentless and it's tiring for everybody. Like I said right at the start, people first makes people, it builds people. Profit first breaks people, it kills them. And it actually does. You know, everyone understands why. Everyone understands why things need to be done in a certain way because they've told us and they've had a part to play in understanding and creating the why. And fundamentally, when you get this right, you've got a full team of people that are highly accountable, and they're not told to be accountable, they've just owned it, which is magic. So in a bit of detail, so the outcomes: enhanced trust, foundational building block for any business. Businesses are built on relationships, internally and externally. Trust and respect from leaders to people, from people to leaders, peers across the piece. Absolutely, you know, it's awesome. You know, openly discussing challenges, successes, sharing that feedback, recognition creates a really cohesive work environment. Massively increase employee engagement. So I mentioned earlier that the story we did the employee engagement surveys. Our engagement level, I think, when we first started the process was about 62%. And after we started to implement this stuff, it rose. It was the biggest leap. We got an award by Steve Smith at Anthem for the biggest difference we made in a year in terms of employee engagement. We went from 62%, or it might have been 57. It was low anyway. We went to 87% in a year by implementing this stuff. And listen, it's no surprise that as our engagement grew, the results of the business grew as well. We just didn't focus on those. We focused on the people, and the bottom line, the top line improved radically. People enjoyed their work. It became a dynamic, engaging, exciting working environment. More innovation. We created new products, new services, and it wasn't down to me. I didn't create them. We had people actively sitting us down and saying, right, I've got this idea. I've seen this gap. I've got this idea. I'm thinking of creating this. I think it's going to really help our customers, and I think it's going to really help the way we engage with our customer and deliver services. Brilliant. Let's see. Do you want to own that? Do you want to implement that? And what support do you need? Right, I need this, I need that. Yeah, I'm going to own it. I'm going to implement it. Keep me posted. Brilliant. So we get that innovation in as well, and it just happens without you saying anything. So all the time that this is going on, your workload as a leader is reducing because people are empowered. They're owning stuff and they're excited to do it, and it feels so good. And you're left almost like just making sure we're on the vision, making sure we're keeping that communication open, making sure the culture is working and people are working to that values-based sort of ethos. Stronger team collaboration, absolutely. Back when we were bad leaders, and we weren't doing so well. One day I came in and sales and tech, didn't used to get on at all. I came in one day, the tech team had built the Great Wall of China between sales and tech with bookcases. And I was like, oh my God, is this where we've got to? Building walls where we should be building bridges. True story. So collaboration's key. Better decision making. Rather than every decision coming up to your desk as one of the senior leaders or MD or founder, you get this all the time. And again, if you want to experience this stuff, let me know. Put in the comments outcome. I want to experience this outcome or these outcomes. But you might be familiar with, the feeling of all the decisions have to come across your desk, and it's like, oh crikey, why can't they make decisions for themselves? Because they're not empowered to do so. So it leads to better decision making. When people know the vision, the purpose, the mission, when people know the goals, people know what they're accountable for and what they own, they can make decisions more effectively. And, it reduces your overwhelm as a leader, the stress levels you face. It creates a really, again, a great working environment. And then you get the final result, long-term organizational growth and stability. And it's true. People first leads to long-term success, growth, sustainability, top line, bottom line, engagement levels, accountability levels, ownership levels. And this would bring it all together. So when we implemented this stuff, we went from 12 million losing money to 14.6 a year later, making money, to 19 million, making more money, to 24.6 million, making more money. And we did that with 20% less employees because some of them didn't want to come on this journey with us. So we doubled the size of the business with 20% less employees. What was the secret behind that? It was being radically transparent. What was the biggest thing that came out of being radically transparent? It was radical accountability across the whole business. That is the transparency advantage. Becoming a transparent leader has so many benefits. It's not easy. You'll be scared at first. There'll be a fear there. But we've done this. We've been through it. We educate and teach organizations and leaders to become more transparent. And we see on a daily basis the benefits that this brings. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that. I mean, I don't know what time, 8:38. So we're about to wrap up. 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I did put down 45 minutes. So I want you to hang around for the next bit. I want feedback. How was that? Please put in the comments. Did you learn things today? Shout, I learned things today. Do you understand how to implement some of those things that you learned via the story and some of the detail I went through? I hope so, because that's why we're doing this stuff. Will you implement some of this stuff in your business? I sincerely hope you do, because knowledge is not power, despite what they say. Knowledge only becomes powerful when you do something with it, when you implement it. So knowledge plus implementation equals power. And would you like me to send a link to download all the assets? If you do, just put something in the comments, and we'll send you the link to the assets. The video, the slide deck, the illustrations, the separate items. We've got a blog as well on this. You can take all these assets, you can present it back to your team, back to your business. You can do something with it. So you've got two options. What's next? Two options. Take what you've learned and try to implement it yourself. Absolutely. You've got the tools, you've got some stuff. Please do that. But it might take you some time. There might be a bit of fear there. And are you going to do it right? Will it work? Or you can speed up the process a little bit, guarantee some outcomes by just getting on the phone with us. I've got there's 5 or 6 people in the team. We're all leaders of businesses. We all have owned or led big businesses, and we've got lots of expertise and experience to share with you. So just book like a 30-minute get-to-know-you call. Let's understand what's going on in your organization. Let's give you some ideas on how you might approach that. And if you need a little bit of help from us, that's what we're there for. We're Sherpa guides. We're at your side all the way, guiding you to the top of that mountain. So if you want either 1 or 2, just put that in the comments. Number 1, if you're going to crack on and implement the stuff, and we'll send you the link. Or number 2, if you want to book a call, and we'll send you a link on LinkedIn or via email or whatever. Just put the call in. One of the team would be really happy to speak to you. So this isn't the first webinar we're going to do. It's not the only webinar we're going to do in the series. There are more webinars coming up. all designed to help with the thinking of becoming more people first and not profit first. So let me just get the screen working right so you can see this stuff and you can see me a bit better. So that's good. So let's get this right. Here we go. There we go. So upcoming webinars. What do we got? First up, next week after next. Is it week after next, I think? 25th of January. We've got the lovely Kerry Medlicott, who's very, very experienced leadership, absolutely people-focused. Her webinar is all about recognition and how recognition will harness the full power of your team. That's on the 25th of January at 9 o'clock on LinkedIn. And then the week after, we've got Chris Ball, the magical Chris Ball, the healer of our forward-thinking community. His theme, the People to Work theme, is never underestimate the power of vision and purpose. And that's on the 30th of January, 9 o'clock, again on LinkedIn. And after those webinars, again, we're going to package the assets. You're going to be able to grab those and implement the stuff that you learn on those webinars. So all that's left for me to say really is thanks. Thanks so much for attending. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'd love some feedback. After all, transparent leadership is all about, part of it is about requesting. Please give me some feedback. Was it valuable? Did you learn anything? Did you feel anything? Maybe you're in a position where some of this stuff is affecting your business. Let me know. We can help. That's what we're here for. So I mentioned at the start, I want to give you some goodies. The simplest way to do it, you can put a 1 in the comments or a 2, but this is the simplest way. Just like this video on LinkedIn. That notifies us that someone's liked it. And if you've liked it, then we can follow up and send you the stuff. Dead easy. And if you missed the link today, don't worry. I'm going to put it in the comments. I'm also going to put the link to Calendly in the comments. And we're also going to do a post about this on LinkedIn tomorrow with the links as well. So you get 2 opportunities to get this done and get all the assets so you can take this away and implement stuff. And like I said, we'd love to speak to you. We've got so much knowledge and we care so much about our vision, about changing the way the world does business by putting people first. We've got some space in our diaries. We want to hear from you. We want to listen to you. We want to help. We want to guide. So that's all from me. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed delivering that. I have really enjoyed delivering it. People do work. That was how radical transparency creates radical accountability in your business. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Thank you for being part of our movement, and I'll see you very, very soon.